It's finally here. Welcome everybody, we've got the new Swedish tanks on show, and I've gone and got the STVRM 4257, the tier 6 medium autoloader. There will be some gameplay clips coming up, one of which I am bottom tier and one of which I'm mid tier, showing off the strengths and weaknesses of the tank itself. Just to clarify, the second video I used the in-game replay feature from World of Tanks as a way of showing it off and showing how it can be used. There are some tweaks I'd like to see done, but we've got a new replay system in place and it's ideal and it can only get better. So without further ado, let's have a look at the tank itself. Using it as a crew trainer at the moment, I'm not doing too bad. Looking at the stats of this thing when I get the page open, I haven't had that many battles in it. I've just been playing as much as I can. 8 battles, 6 victories, 22 destroyed, and the hit ratio is 86%. It's a very, very accurate gun when you're sat still. Thankfully, with the setup I've got on this one, I'm trying it out differently to other tanks and it's going to change my playstyle. My equipment usage, I've got camo net, binos and enhanced gun lane drive. Now unfortunately I haven't had too many maps where I can use the view range on this thing and the camo nature, but that swings and roundabouts. I'm tempted to maybe look at changing it to go to optics, but then I might as well get rid of the camo net and maybe put some other things on. At the moment I'm quite happy with this setup. The consumables, I do have a plentiful APCR shells of 24, because you do come up against tier 8 tanks and they're not the easiest things to penetrate, and if you can hit them in the side you want to make sure you're going to go through. There may be some tanks as well you can hit the front from tier 7 with APCR as well, like your Tigers for example. Small repair kit, small first aid kit, and the reason I've gone for the automatic fire extinguisher, the chance of fire on this tank is 20% stock, and I don't expect to be able to have myself set on fire. I don't have to use the credits, and I'm going to have a reduction of fire chance by 10% as a passive effect, which is why I've got this on. The other two I'm more likely to use because it's a lightly armoured tank. I'm more likely to get damaged components. My crew are likely to get buggered over from HE shells if they are fired at me, so I want to be able to have the opportunity of spending a little silver to repair them, risk using 20 grand worth of fire extinguisher equipment, which in the first 8 games I've played I have not been set on fire, so I think that's a fairly good trade, and use it as a passive effect. So we can get rid of that. The camo that you can get for this tank, when I can see it, there we go. There are 4 different types available for obviously reasons. We've got the winter camo, you put pure white, or one with a little mottled effect. Your summer camo, 2 available again for that one. I do prefer the first one I've got on there. Desert camo, not really deserty in my opinion, but that looks a bit different to how it looks on the screen. So I've gone for the first one with the light, and the urban camo, I do like digital quite a bit. And you've got your selections going through a little bit more. That one I do also like. I like the ones that don't actually look like they should be camouflaged at all. And your emblems are all pretty much the same, which I can now slap on number 3. So what about the tank itself in terms of its ability to play? The damage rolls itself I've averaged about 140 to 150, relatively good. The shot in between, maybe about a second and a half, 2 seconds or so. It's not particularly too long, but it's certainly not something when you're coming up against say tier 5s and tier 6s who have a decent rate of fire. I mean, we're not talking about your Bogota kind of rate of fire, but like your tier 1 heavies, they're not exactly low. You do got to be careful because you can be penned by them. You are still going to get a lot of shots off. Unfortunately, when you are top tier, you don't need to use the APCR at 2,800 shells, but the penetration on those is very, very decent. As it is, the AP rounds I've actually had a fair amount of success with. I haven't really needed to use the APCR shells, and I've even managed to pen the side of an Oni with AP rounds, so they can be useful. And it's not always the case that you need to use premium rounds, which is ideal. My crew, basically bare bones. I'm going for 6th sense at the very start, so as I play the games I don't have 6th sense, which makes it a little bit difficult for me, especially when I'm trying to use this as a sniping tank, because if I'm not looking in the direction I'm spotted, I don't know until I'm smashed. So you just got to be very, very wary until you build it up. Let's have a look at the tank itself in terms of its armour, which isn't really useful to be honest, but there you go, not very much at all. It can bounce. There has been ones I've hit with APCRs. You'll see in the second video I bounced off the rear end of the tank, extreme angle, quite a distance away, and because the penetration drops it didn't like it and it did bounce, so you can do that. And thankfully, because of the small turret on top, if you want to get over and use the minimal gun depression but only expose your turret, then you don't have to expose anything else of your tank. just be wary of the fact that it will not bounce very much at all, unless it's a very fortunate RNG decides to go, yeah, we bounced it. So without further ado, we're going to go and have a look at a few games. I'm going to comment on them. The first one will be a top tier game, so, bottom tier, sorry. I'm up against tier 8s, and it'll be on Pacific Island, which for some reason has come back. It's not the most ideal map, I don't particularly like it, and it seemed to be Wargaming was against me when I was trying to record clips on this. I wanted to get large, long view range. But anyways, we'll get into that and we'll see how I play. And so here we are, we have got Pacific Island, we are bottom tier, and we are going to somehow, hopefully survive and win the game, and kind of show you how to play this tank when favourable matchmaking is not really favourable in your eyes. This one was recorded straight from the bat, so this is me playing and recording at the same time. I didn't use a replay feature in this one, and again it will show you the differences between the two. The mobility of this tank is not amazing. There are a lot of other tanks that are a little bit quicker than it, and it doesn't turn really that well. So you do have to make sure that if you are going to be using the idea of sitting in a bush and sniping across, there are going to be other tanks that are going to be ahead of you, whether it be high tier mediums, so for example your Pershing, or even your light tanks such as your Chaffee. You're not really going to be able to beat them to a position, so try and stay with your team. The very fortunate factor of that is if you find yourself on a map such as maybe Prokhorovka, you're going to be moving with the tanks that are slower anyway, so your heavy tanks, so you don't really have to go that far forward too quickly. You just need to make sure that you're far enough forward whereby you can spot and hopefully stay in cover. The camo rating of this tank is actually not too bad. Couple that with the camo paint, and maybe get the camo perks on the go as well, and also if you can slap a camo net on there, you'll fit right in. This is a completely different playstyle to me, so I like being aggressive when I play, and I like to get people to do things they shouldn't be doing, make people make mistakes. Unfortunately, because of the tanks that are on their other team, and because of the position they have on the map, I can't go forward. So I'm just making sure I can spot across, maybe stop people coming across the middle if they do, and you never know, get a couple of shots on the people on the hill that either come down, maybe overextend themselves slightly. I've got the premium shells loaded up, I want to make sure the shots go in. Because I'm shooting from long range, it's likely to go in the side. I want to make sure that damage is done. The 140 odd alpha damage is fairly decent, especially for the tier, and then when you consider that you have it as an auto loader, 15.66 seconds at the moment as a reload, very good. VK doing exactly what I was hoping they'd do earlier, taking a couple of pot shots, got a very nice shot into the top. Again, the accuracy of this tank is actually very decent. Looking how the game's progressing, I've still sat in the same spot waiting for people to push forward if they can do. Now I know that I can sort of go forward, that I won't get too much of an issue in terms of shot from the sides or shot from covered tanks. I have that cover around me, I know I can move. Unfortunately, because I don't have Sixth Sense, I'm still really wanting, I don't really want to go forward. And unfortunately the AMX does spot me, but before he can do anything he shoots over the top of me and gets killed himself. Moving on forward, the people are still on the hill. Because of Pacific Island and the way it goes, people are unwilling to move from that hill. It is a very good spot to sit in, and I'm seeing if I can get a shot into the Carnarvon. Unfortunately it's on the other side, so I have to leave him, but go back to the same role of sitting forward, seeing what I can spot. Is there an opportunity for me to be able to push forward or get spot target hits as I am now? I want to remain a thorn in people's sides, maybe to shoot at, maybe use the idea that I am lightly armoured, get the fire on me, but know that I have an escape plan and route. Get detected again by a Hellcat, and I use the rock as cover to ensure that it doesn't get shots into the side. Again, I'm not a tank with armour, I don't want that to happen. Now we're starting to push up quite a bit. I've got faith in my team that they will push forward, and that I can be some sort of an annoying little bastard who sits there and lets people shoot over the top and has the enemy fire concentrating on me. Fortunately, the Hellcat decides that he's going to try it himself, flips over the top and buggers it up. And because I wanted the clip for later on, I do double tap and get that game recorded, forgetting completely that I'm actually recording the game. So GG, no RE, well played. We're going into the latter stages of the game, even though it's only been going on like 4 minutes, and we have the two new Swedish TDs that we're up against, the Strv S1. Now unfortunately one of them is driven by Max Chaos, who really doesn't want me to go up the hill. Fortunately I'm in this rock, and again we go back to the same old premise of allowing our team to be some sort of a sniper fire. maybe I can draw the attention on me. I'm reluctant to go around the corner, don't want to get shot, but at the same time I want to see if I can make a flanking opportunity up top. Now unfortunately Max is not really too keen on me doing that and pushes me back. All well and good. If their team aren't pushing forwards, I can sit behind this rock, get the cover I need, and ensure that I can hopefully get people shooting over the top, and maybe every now and then get some shots into lower front plates, get some shots into the tanks that are either coming forward or even tracking damage. Fortunately the KR there was on not a lot of health, so using the special premium rounds I was able to get penetrating hit. Not so much on the S1. Now things start getting a little bit interesting. I'm becoming more of a target, so I want to ensure that I'm using cover, not going too far forward, not doing something that's going to overextend myself, and again try and allow my team to come round. As you can see, there's a Fardland over on the other side. I'm being the annoying little fly, the housefly that buzzes around you, and I keep Max's attention. Not sure why he keeps facing me, why he keeps looking at me. I can't do very much. I'm a tier 6 tank, you're a tier 8 tank destroyer. I'll probably bounce, and you can turn the tank really quickly. All I have to do is wait for the Fardland to go up, and I can use that auto loader to just lay into it, get the shots off, and destroy him. Fortunately, the Fardland stays alive. Now, I thought he died, but that was actually an artillery killing someone else. Only when I realised that, I went back to try and help the Fardland out on the other S1, pushing around again, still full health. Somehow I don't know how I managed to do it. Get the final shots into him to make sure he's dead, and then moving on to the base. They've started capping because they push around, so we want to make sure we go on and win. This is a scenario where I can't guarantee I'll get back. Looking at the tank types as well, they were tier 7s. I didn't really want to risk it. I'm quite happy with the win going forward, especially on the distance we'd have to cover, and the fact artillery is still in the game somewhere. And it's not a tank I really want to get hit with, because the armour again not very good, and if an artillery shell hits me, I'll know about it when I see the garage screen, and then I'll wonder what's just happened. I asked the Fardland to come into the hill with us as well because they're going back. We don't have artillery on our team, and if they don't actually get a couple of shots into the people capping, could go either way. The game itself really shows that yes, you can play bottom tier, but you have to make sure you're not doing something you shouldn't be doing. Don't be over aggressive. Try and read how the game plays. Unfortunately, that won't be the case in every game. You won't find that your team actually works the way you meant, or you think that it's going to work and you hope it's going to work. But at the same time, risk it for a biscuit, play passively. If you can make a move forward, do so. Certainly in this tank you can do. Loading up them APCR shells, getting the kills on people, getting them out of the game, and being a thorn in people's sides is more, whilst you don't get XP for it, it's just something that you can rely on more with this tank. It's difficult to say when playing passively where you don't feel like you're doing anything because your silver count hasn't gone up or other aspects haven't gone up. It is kind of boring, but it does win you games. An example here, didn't get too much, only 1,800 combined. Still, only first mastery badge, but I did get the Oscar medal. I believe it's the one for killing so many tanks 2 tiers higher and above. All very well and good, did enjoy that, and I came top. So what we'll do now, we'll move on to the mid-tier game. We'll come up against tier 7s. And we'll see how well that does. And again, just to let you know, that's the one recorded with the in-game replay feature on all the tanks, so it will look a hell of a lot different. So here we are, we're showing off a much better game from the M4257. We are mid-tier, there's quite a few tier 7s in this game, quite a few tier 6s and some tier 5s. I would point out there are some heavy hitting tier 7s, specifically the TDs, as a Jack Panther within this game. So not something you would really want to come up against. Unfortunately, the way the replay works, you are going to see my name appear there in the middle. On the left hand side you've got the details about tank camera, HUD, etc. You also don't get to see me in the sniper view, and you will also not get to see what round I've got selected. At present I do have APCR loaded, specifically for the shell velocity over long range, as well as the tanks I'm likely to be coming up against. This is the first time that I was able to properly use the tank's ability to fire from long range. Try and remain undetected if I can. Now I don't have 6th sense and staying out in the open isn't ideal, but I wanted to use some sort of ability to snipe with this vehicle. The other thing to point out as well is that I'm controlling the actual camera post video, so it may not always match up with the turret. That's another thing that they may change and hopefully will do, but we'll hopefully come to that on the next update. There's a nice little bounce with the APCR on the M4257 on its side. Fortunately I was able to get a few more shots into him when he got tracked, and he's now removed. Not willing to really go forward and push myself, but the option's there. We have backup. If there's an opportunity to get shots into the side of someone, I will do, and there's a lot of cover available to me to use as an escape route to come back. The only people likely to be able to hit me are going to be artillery or people going up and over the hill if they're close to me. I'm willing to take that risk though. If you take the risk, you never know. It might work and pay off. There's quite a few people on the right hand side. Again, because the mobility of the tank isn't amazing, so to speak, it's going to be slow. But you're going to keep up with a team who are also slow and they're also heavy hitters. Coming up against a lone Tiger P, not something you should be doing, to be perfectly honest, in that specific tank. But a perfect opportunity to use this gun again, unload all the clip into the side room. Again, it is APCR, get a nice little ammo rack, but dropping the damage on him, as you can see, some decent damage rolls. Overall, maybe about 500 damage, 600 damage from a tier 6, and he's pretty much gone. Can let the Craft Panther go on and take him out. I'm looking further ahead now and seeing what else we can try and remove. They don't quite take him out, so I'm looking back and thinking, you're going to kill him? And they do. Lots of cover available to me again. Trying not to overextend myself, trying not to make myself a target for people. Want to make sure if artillery is going to be firing at me, he's going to have to really work to hit me. Although, having said that, you can splash me from quite far away in the artillery and still do a fair amount of damage, if not crew or modular. The M4 being on his own, it looks to be they left this side pretty much wide open. And so we were picking off tanks one by one. Perfect scenario for this tank, especially when you have backup from upper tier tanks such as the Craft Panther next to me. You can go in, get a few shots into him, and they'll either finish him off or be the target. Coming up on a tier 1 heavy, the tier 5, he is going to be aiming at me because I'm the sole target in front of him, and I wondered whether to hold back, but it didn't really matter too much because I knew that as soon as I got around the side, all the shots are going to the side room and it'll be removed. Thankfully, the Craft Panther again there, returning the favour from earlier, and I got the kill on him. We're about midway through the game now, again only about 4 minutes in, but a lot of people have died. A lot of their team's in the middle, so I'm looking to go around the side. I want to be the sneaky little thorn in the side of people again, and I want to try and get sneaky little shots into them. If I can do, I will try and get side shots or rear shots into tanks that are vulnerable to that. It's going to be the only thing I can really do against upper tier tanks is to hit weak spots, and if you have an opportunity to hit a tank in the side, that's ideal. So I'm using it quite far away from where the action is being held. Unfortunately, the Oni in front of me has his side to me, and I'm able to penetrate the side with standard ammunition. This is an APCR. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the next shot into him, and I try and shoot the J Panther. Doesn't go quite as well, but I've got him onto low enough health, dropped him to by about maybe 300. Maybe, no, actually about 450 or so, which is still a fair amount to take off that Oni, and very, very useful considering the amount of armour and gun that tank has. There's not many people left in this game now, so I'm sort of figuring where they are, all over to the right. The artillery has been taken out, so I don't have to worry about him. The next stage is now, can I go around and flank the Oni? Can I go around and flank the others? Out of the blue, there's an AT7. Bugger. Not the tank when I don't want to be facing. He's facing someone else and shooting them. Unfortunately, he's able to get a nice shot on the move with a T25T, so it means that I'm at risk of him being able to hit me. 1 shot, 2 shot, 3 shots, somehow that penned him, and the 4th into his cupula. Beautiful. All that damage done. Short space of time, dumped the entire clip. I put myself in an advantageous place, if I can say it properly, in getting his health down to a point where someone else can come along and get the kill, or I can try and make him do something stupid. Very fortunately, I got a tracking hit, and he didn't get the shot at me. Unfortunately, RNG decided I'm not going to hit him. Now you can see the J Panther across the road. Does about 350 damage. Get a very, 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 very fortunate shot on the lower front plate, and I'm having to disappear. Here's my escape route going down. The AT7, I'm seeing if I can try and pull my way. Unfortunately, the other guy in the STRV doesn't realise the J Panther's over there and gets taken out. And he also bounced on the AT7. Now we're in a bit of a predicament. Because he's a fixed turreted tank destroyer, I know that if he's going to come around the corner, he's going to kind of have to come around with his side on unless he takes a very, very large walk around, and that's not going to be something he's going to be able to do. Unfortunately, my 2 shells bounce off him, but the next APCR shell goes into the side, and the final one goes into the cupula, taking him out of the game. Now we're starting to be getting to the end of the game, the proper end. The J Panther is taken on the T-34-88 and an OI, gets hit for 240, but unfortunately kills the OI, so there's nothing much we can do about that. Now I'm seeing if I can get some aerial shots on people. Again, being that annoying little tank, maybe take the attention off people, get shots into the roof. I don't need to use APCR, but considering the late of the game, what we're going to have to go up against, it's definitely going to be loaded. The T-34-88 I'm hoping stays back but doesn't, but fortunately because he's spotted and I am with a proxy but I will soon be unspotted, there's a chance and an opportunity to be able to go round the back of the Oni and hopefully get him to turn side onto me, because that rear armour is not something that I'm going to likely be able to go through. As Sod's Law is, he gets a nice shot into the side room I believe and does about 238, leaves him on a one shot for me, but unfortunately gets killed himself. Now I've got the problem of the Oni being behind a massive rock. I can't do anything. Maybe I can bait him out. He does come out, don't know why, and I get a very nice shot into the side room just before he fires. Fortunately, because of the length of the gun itself, is not going to be too much of an opportunity to be able to hit me. And I should also say the accuracy of that tank is not ideal. The very last tank in the game is a Chaffee. He was on our base, not sure where he is now. I don't really have the hit points to be able to take more than 2 shots. 1 shot I could probably get away with. So I've got to make sure it counts. If he's full health, I want to make sure we're as far away from each other as possible. Maybe even use the artillery as bait for it. At the moment we're both going towards the flag, we're both going to try and cap it. There's plenty of opportunity and cover to sit in the flag itself, wait for the Chaffee to come and try and get us. As it turns out to be, the Chaffee is no longer on a base and is moving, so we don't know where he is now. So this is the only opportunity we have. Going forward, looking to the side, you never know where he is, because that was the last time I saw him. And it turns out to be that he's nowhere to be seen. What do we do? Well, again, the distance is going to be the main thing I'm going to look for. Now, fortunately, as we crest the hill, the Chaffee is in front of us and he's on half health, which makes it even better. It does mean that I'm more than likely going to be able to kill him, but the M12 gets there first and drops a nice little shot on top of him. It turns out to be, yeah, not OP at all. But that's my view on it, but it was a very nice shot in the end anyways. That is literally the end of the replay itself. We're going to go back into the main screen. Due to the nature of the actual clip itself, it will be just going back to the garage and I will skip along to it. So I ended up doing 3010 damage with the mastery badge. Ace tanker, which is ideal. Got a nice little climb to the top, and we came top of the leaderboard with 3010, 1713 base XP. Very, very, very decent game. Using a combination of range as well as going around like a wolf pack scenario, trying to take out people as many as we can or put them down as much as we can, and it paid off really, really well. This was the game I was looking to try and get, and I'm very happy that I got this game going forward. Well, this has been the review of the Strv M4257, the tier 6 Swedish premium that's just come out. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you beautiful people later.